Okay, welcome everyone to the invisible. I can't remember what I fucking called it. That's going to be a great start to a replay, isn't it? It's like the invisible force behind your life. In a nutshell, we're going to talk about the terror barrier, okay? And the terror barrier makes it sound way worse than it is. I quite resonate with dramatic language. Obviously, being Spanish, we're dramatic people, we're emotional people. We like a dramatic phrase, but I also don't want it to scare you. We're going to talk about the terror barrier, which is a psychological process, okay? But it doesn't actually mean terror. So don't take it literally. I mean, it can mean terror, but like sometimes it doesn't, okay? So just note that as we begin and we go in. So I'm curious, everyone, drop me a message in the chat. How are we feeling today? Where we're at? Where are we at internally today? What's going on? Talk to me. Talk to me. I've been doing lymph massage, with the fucking crystal on your face. And I'm like, wow, we had tension. And it's excellent. And so now I'm like absolutely committed. And also I'm 33, so I'm like, I know we've all got different decisions of what we want to put in our bodies, but I'm like, I'm not, do you know what I mean? It's just I'm not doing anything, just I don't want to, I'm not interested. So me and that crystal are gonna have to be fucking best friends and face yoga. Does anyone do face yoga? Feel like I might get on the bandwagon. Excellent, excellent. Feel like I need to get on the face yoga bandwagon. I think it's going to be important for me. Okay, what have we got? Feeling lots of pressure and anxiety about making money, income not coming in. Okay, that's fascinating because Vanessa, I actually know Vanessa's just done two talks in front of like 80 to 100 people. She's absolutely smashed it. She had seven sales. This is actually fucking perfect. Thank you for being the first person that shares, Vanessa, because I'll speak to that before we go in. So Vanessa's had like, I know Vanessa left corporate and now she's in business. Some of you, we do get a lot of people that are in that corporate transition. Not everyone, but we do get it. And I know Vanessa, I'd say it's recently been a bit of a peak, right? And this is actually a bit of terror barrier stuff, right? So Vanessa's done two talks. They went amazingly. She's received brilliant feedback. She made seven fucking sales on the call. And all of those sales have led to Vanessa's a client, by the way. All of those sales, that's why I know I'm not just a creep. I am a creep. I do sometimes stalk people, like some of my clients, and I know just random information about them. And I'm like, I'm not the cool, allure, like the coaches that are like really mysterious and they're like, I don't know. I can't be that. I'm like, hello, I know. We had one client, Bonnie, if you watch the replay, she moved to Marbella and was like, I saw that you went to Run Cup in Fuengirola. How creepy is that? How not fucking cool is that? Anyway, so I know Vanessa's done these these talks, and so she's got these seven opportunities because they've made these kind of sales to a low ticket, and now she's moving people through the low ticket, and there are seven sales opportunities, right, for her one-to-one. This is prime fucking terror barrier shit, right? When there's no stimulation and there are no sales calls and you aren't like inches away from the result, very often you don't feel anxiety. And I've been telling my clients this for years. This is why I love the terror barrier. It's like just before we receive something that we've never received before, our energetic body tends to discombobulate. So anxiety can be one of the feelings that we feel. It doesn't have to be terror. I'm going to explain it today. I can't even tell you how much this teaching changed my life, which is a Bob Proctor teaching. It's not a Hannah teaching, okay? Always cite your teachers. I always cite my teachers. It's a Bob Proctor training. It really shifted things because before that, I'd got a bit into the hippie space, which teach only do it if it feels good, which can become a bit like avoidant, right? Because not everything that is meant for you feels good, right? Sometimes something you get a strong yes to, but it makes you want to puke, right? Just like me in that Ibiza house, that made me want to puke. I was so annoyed that I wanted it. I was actively pissed off, but I still knew that it was right for me. So there's some of these like manifestation, high vibe teachings that have confused the fuck out of people, and people are scared of feeling anything. And actually, it's my experience that just before you get the thing, you don't always have to, just discombobulate slightly energetically, and you experience that as anxiety or irritation, right? Before I manifest something, I shared this example with my clients. It's going through a big shift, a detox. I teach this in the certification. and I come downstairs to watch the TV with my partner Craig, and I'm just suddenly, please tell me someone else has felt this before. I'm just suddenly irrationally furious that his feet are too big. Have any of you ever experienced this? And you're like, this is totally like, like literally, there's no way that I can think that I'm right. Like, obviously, I am being insane, but you just suddenly feel that fury, and it's obviously has to be projected on something. And Craig's large feet, for whatever reason, was where my mind decided to project the irritation. But the irritation was actually that I was going through a process of detoxification. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let me see chat. Relaxed and lighter in my body after a very deep facial love that, Abby, love that for you. I can't even say it. Gua sha. How do you say it? I'm not going to embarrass myself. Gua sha. Thank you. Fuck knows. Anyway, it's lovely. Feeling I'm highly dyslexic. I actually am diagnosed as highly dyslexic. So sometimes when I see names, I get anxiety because I'm like, there is no way I can sound that. Feeling good, have more clarity than last week, and already loads of ideas coming through around scaling my business. Love to see it. Visiting my family on the road, meeting people all over the place, but full of energy and present as fuck. I love that. I love how you stalk your clients. It's true. Not everyone. It's just where the wind takes me. Do you know what I mean? There's no reasoning behind it. It's just sometimes I find myself there. Same as Vanessa. Okay, feeling a little bit anxious around money, but I think it's more around fear of the unknown. Yeah. Okay. With money, what's coming next? That my husband's eating too loud. Yay to dyslexia. Yeah, I know. Suddenly you're just raging. You're like, I just feel like you're breathing wrong. And I have nothing to back this statement. But I feel like this is what I say to Craig, and he's like, do you need a moment alone, Hannah? I'm like, yes, I do, because everything is annoying me. Okay, so we're going to do the terror barrier. We're going to go through the process together. We're gonna make a leap within this call, okay? And the leap has got to start here. There are so many people that are waiting for a quantum leap. They're waiting for the results. It's like what we talked about, like, oh, I'm just praying and waiting for a miracle, instead of like becoming a match to it, that there's no way that you can't experience it. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what we're looking for. And so that process requires a decision. And this is what we touched on last week when I talked about when you make a decision, all your shit's going to come up, right? So I'm going to take you through the Bob Proctor process for that. Now, like I've mentioned, this is a free experience, right? And even though we take it seriously, I put a shit ton into this. I over deliver. I teach like for as long as I need to get it done. It's still a free experience. So this is the only process. We don't do any somatic work here. We don't do any chart readings. We don't do any of that. We just do, well, I say just. I mean, this is a brilliant process, but like this is just a little tiny sampling so you can see how quick and easy it is to overcome yourself when you actually know how, right? Now, just to speak to something, because I've seen someone right here, it's more the fear around the unknown. Like, if you're going to create quantum leap, if you're going to create something different in your life, you have to come to peace with the unknown. Like right now, in this moment in my life, and I was thinking about this with some of the really great questions we've had in the WhatsApp group, which have been really interesting, I think, because they've been similar questions but said in different ways. But like, even if I look at this moment in my life, there are so many things in my life that are like brilliant, that are amazing, right? The revenue that I've created, the relationship that I'm in, the property that we live in, but there's still a lot that's uncertain and unknown because I'm still going to another level as well, right? It's not just I teach going to another level. I'm always overcoming myself because it's the beauty of the journey, and it sounds cliche and corny of like who could I become, right? And Craig and I have been really going through this recently. Like since moving to Portugal, life is really peaceful. We're really living a lot of things that we've been creating and wanting for years. We've been together for just under 6 years, yeah, without well, we had the little breakup. But apart from that, we've been together for just under 6 years. So we're completely different people. And I was just saying to him, I was doing a meditation, one of the processes that I teach earlier, I was doing it myself. And I was like, oh my God, I really am like dying to any version that I've known in myself, right? I'm like, just who I was in my 20s, who I even had to be to build the business in the beginning. And that's unknown, and that's still frightening for me, right? Do you know what I mean? It's just that I'm willing to be with those feelings, because if I'm not with those feelings, and then I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to convince myself to, oh, but because the known is everything that you've created. So if you need the known, you can only create more of what you've created. You can only create the same income. You can only create the same relationships. You can only create the same. You can't create anything new, right? And so if you want something new, then you're going to have to get comfortable with not knowing the exact moment that something lands, not knowing the exact way that it comes in, sometimes not knowing the exact how, right? And that's for all of us. It never stops being that way because there's always going to be beauty in the mystery of life. It's the human condition. So if you keep needing known, all you can do is create what you've already created. But we don't want to create more of what we've created. We want to create something different. We want to create a leap, right? So then we have to face the unknown and everything that that might entail, right? So I'm going to read some of this for you. Who's done some Bob Proctor work? I'm just curious in the chat. Give it to me. I have something, I have like little rules that I love to play by and I like to share. For me, one of the big things, I've worked with so many extraordinary people over the years, and, I've invested a lot in different trainings, whether it's business or personal development. And something that I feel very passionately about is like, I think there's a lot of people that are like want to make everything their own. And it's like, cite your fucking teachers. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm here because I've had some legendary teachers. And I worked with one of Bob Proctor's top coaches for about a year and a half. And he came on and he talked. And it was really amazing. We had a session with him a month before he died. Could you imagine? Um, and he really, really, really teaches, even though it is incomplete, just the Bob Proctor stuff, just mindset. He doesn't talk about trauma, he doesn't talk about any of those things. But it's that he's really, really good at what he does. And his teachings, I think, are very, very good at what they do. So I love Bob Proctor, but I haven't taken his courses. You reminded me of Joe Dispenza. Yeah, loads of Joe Dispenza. I love Joe Dispenza's teachings. I think they're brilliant. Love Bob Proctor. Came across him through The Secret. Amazing. Okay, so who here knows of the terror barrier? Just put like completely new if you've never heard of it, or just put like an emoji if you've done it with me before. New to it. Okay, perfect. Completely new. Daniela, I know you've done it. Daniela's been with me for a while. Isn't it fucking cool, right? Like I like to think that I'm not just in a one-side relationship. Like I stalk my clients and I'm creepy and I know things about them because I'm watching their stories. But like also, Daniela, been with me for years. She's still here on a free teaching. So we're all creepy. That's what I'm taking from today's session. It is a mutually creepy relationship. New to it, new to it. Natalie, obviously, Natalie's been here for even longer. Fuck knows how long Natalie's been here for, like 4 years. Natalie, I don't know. I creep on you, Hannah. Thank you. Thank you, Abby. What I want is that. Yeah, literally forever. New, brilliant. I've heard of it from you, but I can't remember it now. Cool. I've heard you teach on it. Look forward to deepening it. Was brilliant when I did it. Yeah, summer. Okay, cool. So, um, how much context do I want to give you? I'm going to summarize a lot of paragraphs in 2 sentences. That's how much context I'm going to give you because I want to make sure that we do the journal prompt, okay? So basically, okay, there is a lot more depth that I could give you in this. Your thoughts create your reality. When you have thoughts many times, they become frequency, okay? So and then you program in frequency within your body. So right now, you are a cluster of patterns and you are a familiar frequency. So most days, roughly, you repeat the same feelings. Some people are addicted to feeling busy. I've really had to reprogram that out of my system. I'm in this weird phase where I've got lots of time. I watched The Ultimatum and had a nap today and then watched, like, I was like, text my team. I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. Do you need me? I don't need you. Like, I'm like, oh, I created this, but it's so weird, right? There's a new level of freedom that's coming online for me that I find bizarre because I've not had that before. It's a new feeling, right? So there is a dominant feeling that you'll feel, and there is a dominant feeling that you'll feel around all things. Let me explain that. When you think about money, you will feel something. Actually, when you think about money, what do you feel? When you think about looking at your bank account instantly, what's the first feeling? Drop it in the chat. Unease, yeah. So that's your dominant vibration around money, right? If you don't do the money work, you are a match to an uneasy financial reality. right? Yeah, exactly. Yuck. I've binged the ultimatum already. I'm ready for it. They all are being fucking insane. How do they find these people? Like, I'm like, who are these men? Where do they find them? I'm like, but anyway, it's excellent TV and I live for it and I watch every single reality TV love show that I can find, adding zeros in my mind. I looked at my account today and that's when the anxiety came in. Yeah, exactly. Because I wanted to undo that feeling because I know it's not helpful. Yeah. They were actually crazy. I'm the same. Fucking love reality TV. I'm like smart business Hannah during the day, reality TV, meth raccoon during the night, live for it. Anyway, so that feeling that you've got around your money, right? That's what you're emitting into the universe in every single moment. And that could be something that's been passed down financially. Like, for example, in my family, my grandparents, they were very wealthy. And then in the Second World War, a bomb was dropped and they lost their timber mill. And they went from being extremely wealthy to losing everything. So a lot of the messaging that I've received in my family, because it was passed down, was like, oh, be careful, don't lose it. Like, it was just this, even if there was money, there was so much anxiety because of like, you've got to be responsible with it. Because if you lose it or something happens, like the timber mill is bombed, not that we have a timber mill anymore, right? But it's like that very ancestral thing. Yeah. So like this is your frequency and that frequency is creating your reality. But I've taken money, let's take time. Or you instantly think about like taking time off, you feel a contraction. Okay, that's telling your frequency about time off. Same with love, same with any topic, yeah? Okay? So that's creative. Now, to change your results, you have to change your frequency. To change your results, Bob Proctor would use the word paradigm. You have to change your paradigm. Yeah. And so this requires strong conscious control over your thinking and awareness. We've spoken about this, right, on day one. So this is the bit that I want you to hear, and I'm actually going to read this so you can hear Bob's words. I think Bob wrote it. We don't know. I wasn't there. Anyway, it's in his book. As they change their thinking, they are you and me. As they change their thinking, they will alter the vibration that they are in, which of course affects how they feel. Small incremental changes the body can handle without too much difficulty. However, any big change of thought or paradigm causes our entire electrical system, which is the nervous system, to go crazy. Yeah? So when you think of making a dramatic change, anything out of the normal, you're going to run headfirst into a wall of fear. And in 99% of cases, right, most people don't have the awareness of the mind and how it functions and how the electrical field functions. And so when they experience the fear, they go back to their comfortable, monotonous state, even if it's not what they want. They then justify this behavior by convincing themselves that it's safe and it's better to be safe than sorry. But the truth is, it's not better to be safe than sorry. That's a myth that has been perpetrated by parents and guardians for centuries. So it's time that we changed it. Okay. So, in essence, you've got a programming right now around money. And that programming, I'm just going to paraphrase him, is that feeling of unease, right? Because I think a lot of people resonate with that. And I've worked with like multi 8-figure business owners, and the feeling that they've got is fucking unease, which is why, even though they're wealthy out of their mind, free. And that's why freedom is an inner game as much as it is an external. Yeah. So you've got this feeling of unease and money, and you decide, I'm going to make, I don't know, I'm going to 10x my income, right? Now, to be a match to 10x your income, and you want to do it the vibrational way, not the force way, which a lot of people have done, right? So we've got to shift your frequency. So even contemplating, I want to make 10x that, if you make a commitment to doing it, what's going to happen is you make a decision and your nervous system is going to go, right? Your electrical system is going to go, and you're going to feel fear, you're going to feel doubt, you're going to feel anxiety, you're going to feel worry. What most people do is they're like, oh my God, that was a bad feeling. I should go backwards because look what I've already got now. I don't want to lose that, right? But we've actually got to be able to lose who we are now, what exists now for a future reality. That's how energetics works, yeah? So that's what he's saying with the terror barrier. I'm now going to present to you these delightful stick figures. Can you guys see them? Oh, no. There we go. Can you see my stick figures? Okay. So these are the 4 stages of the terror barrier. Here we've got bondage. Here we've got reason. Here we've got conflict. And here we've got freedom. Yeah. And can you see this line? That's the terror barrier. Okay. So terror barrier happens after conflict. So let's go through the stages. Okay. Stage one, bondage, is where you are limited in a reality, but you like you aren't setting goals, you aren't like you're just limited in a reality without really realizing you're limited within reality. So that could say, like, for example, um you are earning a certain amount of money, you live in a certain type of house, and you haven't even contemplated the idea that you can have more. You know, when people say sometimes, oh my God, like ignorance was bliss, I didn't know this was possible, and that felt better. That's kind of the state of bondage. You're in a state of limitation, but you don't necessarily even know, right, that you're in a state of limitation, or you're not even allowing yourself to desire anything new, right? So that's like a state of non-growth as well, right? That's a state of, I am where I am. I don't want to progress. I'm just going to keep everything the same. Now, the way that Bob Proctor teaches the subconscious mind is, again, can you see my stick figure? So this is bondage, okay? So top here is this bit is the conscious mind. This bit is the subconscious mind. This bit's the body, okay? So your programming matches your reality. Your X programming matches your reality, okay? There's no other desires, so your subconscious mind matches that reality. Now, your body is a physical manifestation of the subconscious mind. So you're in a complete X vibration. There is maybe no anxiety. There's none of those things. It's like you're just in your conditioning and your reality is a match to that, right? And you just live there, okay? So that's bondage. Now, what happens is when you get a desire, and this is what a lot of you guys will have gone for and gone through last week. This will make sense. I promise this will make sense, okay? I'm just trying to show you my demonstrations. So can you see here, we've got our stick man, and can we see that there is a why idea, okay? So we start going to stage 2, the terror barrier, which is called reason, when we start to have an idea. So it could be you go online and you see someone that's making 100K a month and you go, oh my God, I want that. Or maybe you go to a coffee shop and you see an old couple in their 80s kissing each other and you think, oh my God, I want that. Or you go to a play park and you see a little girl running around with her mum and they're wearing, in my head, bows and dresses. And you're like, I want that. Some of you guys might not want that, right? But for this to impact you, to be relevant, it's got to be you see something that you want, right? You came last week where I kept asking, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? So you started playing with an idea of desire. Now, to be able to desire something means that it doesn't exist in your life yet. You cannot desire something whilst it exists in your life. Does that make sense? You cannot yearn for something. You cannot want something. You cannot be on a journey of growth towards something if it already exists in your life. Okay? Now, in the state of reason, which is stage 2 of the terror barrier, you are you. You create no change. There is no transformation. You are who you were in the state of bondage, right? So your body is X, your subconscious mind is X, and you're percolating in your conscious mind the idea of wanting something new. Wouldn't it be cool to 10x my income? Oh my God, imagine if I could take 3 months off a year. Imagine if I allowed myself to fall in love. What if we have a baby? What if we have baby number 5? What if we get a housekeeper? I don't know. I'm trying to think of ideas of things that you might desire. What if I blow up on Instagram and become an influencer with 100K followers and I stay in luxury destinations all over the world? What if I buy a farm and become completely self-sustained, right? Whatever came through, what if I build a business? What if 7 calls turn into one-to-one clients? Exactly, Vanessa, 100%. That is now an idea that is percolating in your conscious mind. What if I have 7 clients, right? And so the thing that happens next, and this is what people don't realize, reason still feels safe. And so you guys can tell me in the chat whether you're in bondage, reason, or conflict, or in freedom. Yeah, and you'll know. So reason still feels safe because you're like, I am who I am. I've not transformed. My programming is my programming, my conditioning is my conditioning, and I'm contemplating going for this thing that I desire and contemplating going for this thing that I want. But you've not yet made a decision. Your pre-decision. And pre-decision feels safe because you're just percolating an idea. You're just thinking, maybe. But there's nothing on the line yet. You've not made a commitment, right? Do you see? Then comes me trying to find a bigger. Come on, Bob. Have you given me a bigger picture so I can show it? Let's try this one. Okay. Can you see? We've got conflict. So I know this is a little bit backwards because I'm literally showing you something physical. We've got bondage. My reality matches my reality. I don't desire anything more. I'm here, right? We start to have a fantasy. So this is actually, we could call this the stage of fantasy. We've got a new idea and it's percolating in our mind. Stage 3, what starts to happen is you make a fucking decision. And you decide to get emotionally involved in the thing that you want. So instead of going, oh, wouldn't it be cute to make 10x my income? Wouldn't it be cute to buy a house? Wouldn't it be nice to, I don't know, fall in love, have another child, buy a goat? I don't know what the fuck you want. That's actually next level reality for me. I want micro cows. That feels important, right? So if you're like me and you're weird and you just want to live with a lot of animals and have a pit bull farm, maybe that's the fantasy that's going on. In conflict, you make a decision. I am going to buy the farm. I'm going to 10x my income. Now, the way that the subconscious mind works, and I'm going to explain this diagram to you, is that the why idea, Sam just put, that's not weird, Hannah, I want a goat. Okay, I feel seen. I feel seen, guys, that we've had a strong response to the goat front. So whilst why idea is in the conscious mind, it hasn't impacted your electric circuitry. It hasn't impacted your vibration, right? The second that you make a decision and you get emotionally involved, the chat, emotionally involved with the idea, guess what happens? It starts imprinting in the subconscious mind. The second you emotionally, and if you look at neurological programming, I teach this within the global uni as well, and we don't have the time to go into it. The second that you emotionally get involved with an idea, it starts imprinting in the subconscious mind. And so it goes from this top semicircle to this, right? But just because you've started imprinting an idea and just because you've started to get emotionally involved doesn't mean the transformation is done. So what we've now got is conscious mind is Y idea, subconscious mind is X, Y, because the old you still exists. It's just we're being programmed with a new reality. And your body is also a reflection of X, Y. So suddenly, what's happening? You're split. You're like, I'm not who I was, but I'm not yet who I need to become. And so what do you feel? This planting of the why idea into the subconscious mind now starts to make your circuitry go haywire. So what do you feel? Anxiety, doubt, fear. What if it doesn't work? And yes, if you are Bob Proctor, what you feel is terror. Okay, my experience, I've felt terror sometimes. I really have. I've really done some bonkers fucking shit, and I've really felt terror. Sometimes I just feel anxious. Sometimes I feel, sometimes I just know that I'm on the brink of something because I'm annoyed at the size of Craig's feet. So it's different. It's different emotions. But the point is, you are on a frequency level discombobulated. And so what you've hit is called the terror barrier, right? Now, what do most people do when they hit this? And that's why stage 2 is called reason. They're like, oh, but maybe now's not the time. Maybe I should spend the money on a new pottery class instead of building the business that I want. I'm so busy. The mind in order to not feel the discomfort, exactly the walk away from the discomfort. The mind, in order to not feel the discomfort, because it feels uncomfortable, like it's crazy to think that it wouldn't, then goes back to reason. And reason feels safe. You've created no transformation, but you're thinking about the idea of what you want. Do you see what I mean? And so lots of people spend their whole life here. They're not in limitation, they've got a desire. They move forward to the desire, they make a decision on it, they feel all sorts of uncomfortable emotions, and they talk themselves out of it. And so then you can just live in reason. And that's like, the story that I told you of me with the book in the freezer, when the book said like the people that like say that they're going to do things and never do things, like that was me. I lived in fantasy for so long. Like I was going to do so many things, I was going to help so many people, and I didn't fucking do it, did I? And actually, if I'd kept that book in the freezer, you'd have to have watched that session to know what I mean. I'd still be there. I wouldn't have any of my life now. So the fourth stage of the terror barrier, and this is, can you see why this is helpful, right? Because just recognizing that I was in a terror barrier and having the awareness, and instead of pushing the emotion away, learning to be with the somatic sensations and keep walking changed everything. On the other side of the terror barrier, we've got freedom. And so the terror barrier looks like one step, right? And it might be one step. It might be that you have to make a big decision, but it's also multiple steps because you've got to back that choice, and you've got to back that choice until all of you becomes Y vibration, the new you. And that's where the new reality lands, right? We've got to give time for X to become Y. And we've got to understand that in that journey, right, we're going to feel like I'm not who I was, but I'm not yet who I'm becoming. I saw this analogy once that it's like, when people say, like, I feel like I'm in between, what do I do? Well, ultimately, if you go back and do old things and keep rehearsing who you've been until now, searching for familiar situations, you're just rehearsing the past self. So you've got to keep walking into the future. You've got to keep practicing the future self until that becomes automatic, becomes who you are, right? So for example, and I've said this, a lot, I at the beginning felt deeply, deeply uncomfortable in luxury places. I come from a bit of a hippie family. Do you know what I mean? Like we didn't even stay in a hotel, let alone a 5-star hotel. I didn't step foot into 5-star hotel until I was like 28. Right? Like we had rural homes, we stayed with our family in Spain, do you know what I mean? Like we didn't do that. It wasn't my family's value system. So the whole contemplation that it could be my value system brought up a lot of shit, because it was like, what if my family reject me, firstly? And then I had to realize that, there's so much I could talk about in that, but that was a big thing for me. And they didn't, by the way. There was a clunky period, but we got to the other side. So I kept having to practice putting myself into 5-star locations. So I would take myself to luxury spas. I would take myself luxury shopping. It wasn't even about buying something. It was about programming I belong. But that first 10, 20, 30, 40 times, I would sit in that spa, and the thoughts that I were given were from my old self. The thoughts that I were given would be things like, you don't belong, people are going to tell you to leave. Like I would think insane, batshit fucking shit. Like, and it felt really true. And I had to practice the new frequency of I belong here. And so terror barrier also happens in programming. It happens when we make a decision to go for the thing that we want, but it also happens in our programming, right? Because there is a phase where you're creating something new and it does not feel comfortable. What's the word on the third phase? So it's bondage, reason, conflict, just conflict, terror barrier, freedom. Yeah. So there's going to be a stage where, and this is where people say, like, a lot of people would have gone to the spa once, had the feeling of I don't belong, and then they would have poo-pooed it and never gone back. And so this is the work. It's being able to stay in the new without going into contraction, staying open, right? So we're going to go through a terror barrier right now. Are we clear on what the process is? Bondage, reason, conflict, terror barrier, freedom. Do you have any questions on it? Daniela's looking very closely. We just had a close up of her face. I loved it. I was like, that's brilliant. I didn't know if Daniela could see me, but it was like, are you on your phone? And you're just like reading it. It's amazing. I loved it. It's not recorded. The only person that would have seen that, Daniela, was me. That was for my eyes only, and it was lovely. Are we clear? Okay. So I want you to start thinking about is it weird because I'd love a farm in Spain with a cockerel? And I know that's weird because most people, no, I think it's excellent. Like, I want the bougie and I want the fucking farm life. Do you know what I mean? I want to look like I'm in the five-star places and then I also want to ride a cow, you know? Like, and I feel like we can have both. Trying to see if I can, yeah, see the book better. I can take a picture in the VIP group if you want afterwards. Yeah, there you go. That will help. So I want you to start percolating in your mind. We're going to bring up, we will all manifest a goat, not a goal, a goat. We will all get a goat. So all Craig does is send me reels of like homestead people with like all of the, and you know, you see in the living rooms and you're like, the horse is watching the TV, the goat is on the sofa. I'm like, yes, this, sign me up. Where do I sign up? That, please. I don't know what it is, but I want it. So I want you to think about something that you desire, right? Something that you want. Now, for some of you guys, we use this process with people that like I know a lot of you guys like I want to do the global uni, but you've got the terror barrier coming up, right? And that's amazing. You can use this for a choice like that. But just remember, even if you do the global uni or another product with me, that's a vehicle to get you what you want. And what you actually need to be doing the terror barrier around is what you desire. Right? So I want you to be thinking about that for a second, like, and make a decision. Is it a 10x in your income? Is it a 5x? Is it a double X? I spoke to someone the other day, wants to buy a house in a year and a half. Like, they're super clear things, right? I want you to just decide what that is, right? And I want you to write this down on a piece of paper. Sandra wants a goat as well. Excellent. Strongly favorable class here towards goats. So it's good to know that we've got resonance on that topic. Vanessa's moving to Europe or Mediterranean hot country, literally. So pick something and write it down. Love that for you, Natalie, sorry, that you're in conflict. Okay. And then I want you to ask yourself underneath this, if you knew that you had all of the talent, all of the ability, and all of the resources, right, that you require to accomplish something beyond, right, what you've written down, what would your goal actually be? If you knew you had all of the resources, that means time, money, right, ability, and talent to accomplish something beyond what you've written down, what would that goal be? AKA, is there actually a bigger fucking goal that you were scared to write down in the first place? And I want you to own that for a second. Because let's go with the big fucking juicy one, not the one that still feels relatively safe, right? Brilliant. 500K per year, per annum. Is that what you mean? Yeah. Cool. 500,000 yearly wage. Love to see it. Okay. So what we've written down now, according to Bob Proctor's language, is a Y type idea. Yeah. And that's now percolating in your conscious mind. Yeah. So it puts it in the Y category. Now, before getting emotionally involved, because some of you guys might already be feeling the resistance, keep this idea just in your conscious mind. We've not made a decision yet, yeah? What we're going to start doing is using our conscious mind to start describing our life if this happened. So we're going to play the if game. We're not saying that you're doing it. We're not making the commitment yet. We're just saying, what if? We're just playing in that light possibility. What if, right? What if? So I just want you to start writing a list. If I did whatever your goal is, this would happen. If I did that, that would happen, right? So just list the benefits, all the things that would be possible in your life. Remember, you've not made a decision to do it. You're just listing all the things that would be possible, right? Without getting emotionally involved if you chose to do it. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm just going to pop aircon on whilst you guys are writing that down because I'm boiling. We're going to whip through this super speedy and you're going to have all of the prompts on the replay. So even if you don't finish the exercises, when you're watching the replay, you can come back to it and do it slower. If you're watching the replay, just pause me. That's the beauty of a replay and take as long as you want, right? But for those of you that are live, we're just going to finish that last sentence. We've got a few benefits, right? The reason that we do this initially is because guess what the mind does? The mind is designed for our survival. So it's always going to go to the worst case scenario. What if this happens, right? And then do, 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 do. And so the mind is always focused on how can I avoid pain instead of how can I get more of what I want. So we write out the benefits just to bring this to our awareness, what you'd be able to do, what would be possible if you went for this. We haven't gone for it yet. We're going to write a letter. It's going to be a really short letter. And you're going to pretend that you are your best friend. And in this letter, right? And this is just to play a mental game with yourself, right? You're just going to tell them how foolish, like how foolish, right? They would be to not step out and move into action on the goal. If you were your best friend and you just told your best friend, I want this, and you're having all of these ums and ahs, and I don't know if I can, and do, what would you write? What would the best friend write? What would you tell them? Daniela, you're imagining that you're a friend, best friend, and you've just been told by you, I want to go for this goal, but you're saying that you're frightened, you don't know whether to go for it. And you as a friend are writing a letter back saying you would be an absolute silly, silly sausage to not do this, to not get this done. What would you write? Talk about all the benefits, how their life would improve. You're going to spend a couple more minutes there. Exactly. What would your friend say? I've had a lot of questions in the group being like, but what if it's not for me? What if, the universe is saying no? And it's like, the universe doesn't say no. You're allowed all of this shit. What do you need help with? Okay, perfect. Closing up this exercise, okay? So we've started to contemplate on purpose, because when we take risks or we make decisions or we go for something new, it's immediately unfamiliar. So immediately we're going to come to conflict before the terror barrier. So just before that terror barrier, we're just looking at all the benefits instead of straight going to, well, what if I feel bad, I'm scared. We're just looking at the benefits, yeah? How your life would be positively impacted if you had this and if you went for this, right? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to make a decision on this call that you're going to go for this thing, whether it is business, whether it is relational. You're going to do this. You're making a choice, and I want you internally, as you're listening to me, to make a decision right here today that you're going to do it. You're committing, right? I want you to write down every single fear, every single worry, every single thought that comes up on a piece of paper. Because what we do, okay, no problem. Have a great holiday, Chrissy. Um, Vanessa, no one will understand that. Homelessness, yeah. I'll tell that story in a second because it's very funny. Write down all of the thoughts, because what we do usually is we're like, we don't want to feel the uncomfortable thing, so we push away all of the thoughts. What if it doesn't work? What if I end up with no money? And then we don't bring them to our awareness. There can't be space for transformation. By bringing them up, yeah, we're allowing ourselves to transform them. All the deep, dark, fear-based thoughts, worries, anxieties, things that feel true and real, get it out. Yeah. What if I'm never destined for love? What if other people are meant for success and I'm not? Like all that fucking shit. Mm. Now, for the next bit of the task, and I know I'm going through this fast, I'm going to tell you how I would do this as a Virgo. Now, you may want to do this in a different way. As a Virgo, I would get one colored pen and a different colored pen. And I want you to go through everything that you've written in terms of fear, in terms of worry, in terms of doubt, right? And with one color, I want you to circle those that are belief systems that need you to do the inner work. So let's say you take pink and exactly. So this is Abby's put, can I really have everything that I want? Right? So what's the belief system? The belief system is maybe it's naive to have it, to think I can have everything that I want. So we would put a pink circle around that. We know we need to do internal work there. We know we need to do reprogramming work there. We know that's where we're not a match to the result. That's where we've just identified your X vibration. right? Now, there will be another set of things, and let's say you take a green pen, and these are practical things. So, for example, a delightful fear that Vanessa brought to the table in Marbella was, what if I go and build a business and become homeless, right? And we were talking about sometimes you've got to think about the worst case scenario and know that you would survive, and that allows you to be brave and to move forward. And so Vanessa's sitting there and she goes, well, I was thinking about the worst case scenario. She's left corporate, obviously, and she's building a business. And she goes, I thought the worst case scenario would be I don't have a home. And then I realized my family have got homes. And Anita was like, I've got a home. You can come live with me. And she was like, there are so many homes. So the fact that we've just found a practical solution to I could end up because I could end up homeless feels so frightening. It feels so like irresponsible, so overwhelming. But the reality is, like, if you ended up in a situation where you couldn't pay your rent, you're not just gonna go sit. Like you're going to sort it out, aren't you? You're going to go speak to someone. You're going to speak to your friends. You're going to get another job, right? Like you're not just going to be like, this is me for now, right? So that could be a solution. Another solution could be, like for example, a risk that I took at the end of last year was putting money into ads. And we've put, I don't know, 40K at this point. I don't fucking know, right? Which is not huge for ads, but it's literally just given to the meta monkey, right? And, there was a risk that I can put money in and make nothing. That is a risk that you run with ads. And so I asked myself, well, what's the worst case scenario? Because I definitely hit a terror barrier with it. Well, the worst case scenario is I don't make any money. Okay, well, what's the solution to that? I'll do a high ticket sale and make it back. Do you know what I mean? And that reminding myself of my competence, reminding myself that I could just sell a product and it's fine, allows me to be brave and move forward. Because if we don't distill and look at these things, we get stuck and we go back to reason, right? So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes for that. Worst case scenario, all my money runs out. Then what would you do, Vanessa? Put the solution underneath. What's the intelligent action you take? You'd find another fucking job. And then you'd probably run the job and the business at the same time. You'd borrow money. You'd take out a fucking loan. Do you know what I mean? You're not just going to be like, I will just, there's so many solutions. I've had the fear of being homeless before when taking risks. Yeah, it comes up for everybody. I've had the fear of being homeless before. Still, I've made a million and been fearful of becoming homeless, right? It's insane. Now I'm thinking that having a goat would be great, better than the relationship fear. So the relationship fear could be, I get rejected. What's the solution? I still love myself anyway in my rejection. I don't want to go back to corporate. Yeah. So you've got to make this work then, Vanessa. Basically. Death by a freak. Oh my God, Natalie. Death by a freak accident, kidnapped, violent death. What are you picking as a goal? That came up as your fucking fears and your anxieties. Are you starting a mob, Natalie? What? I ran out of money. Everyone I love is dead. These are my deepest. Oh, those are your deepest fears in general. Okay, thank you for sharing. So, what are the solutions, right? I mean, death by a freak accident, you're dead anyway. So, that's probably some nervous system stuff that you need to do. Okay. So you're distilling which of this is stuff, right? That you need to reprogram. It's part of your X vibration. And which of this stuff is just stuff that you need to find a mental solution to so you don't have to put mental bandwidth thinking about it. Yeah, so look at these answers coming through. So, solution, I could ask for money, but asking for money is a deep fear. I'm not saying that you have to do the worst case scenarios. We're just informing your mind that you would survive, like you would get through it. It would be okay. Right? I'm not saying that you have to go and do these things. What we're doing is we're just reminding your mind that even if the worst case happened, you could cope. And so if you could cope when the worst happens, guess what? You might as well go for what you really want, right? One of the things that I have done to relax my nervous system, and I've done this as programming, and I teach this within the global uni world, is that I used to feel like, because I've had some seasons in business that have been hard and painful, and I've been betrayed, and these types of things. And so I used to perpetually have my heart like just want to make sure that people are safe, holding people at distance, like things like this. And then, I got to the realization, I was like, well, what's the worst case scenario? I'll get betrayed. Can I be with the feeling of betrayal? Yes. Can I be with the feeling of failure? Yes. Well, what if I don't need life to be perfect for me to be okay? What if I just need to be with those things? And, the person that I've become through those experiences has made me so capable. So if I can trust that I can be with all of that, I don't have to create it. I don't have to obsess about it, right? But I can trust myself. And if I can trust myself, then I can go for what I really, really want. Now, the things that you can't budge through, this is the pattern work, the inner work that I've mentioned that will be really, really helpful for you. What if people say it didn't work and want a refund? So if they're fair, then you don't give a refund and you've got to deal with the emotional feeling of someone being upset with you. Or if it was that you didn't do what you're meant to do, you give a refund. In both of those situations, you survive. It's an uncomfortable feeling giving money back, and it's an uncomfortable feeling saying no and someone being upset with you. But you can feel uncomfortable feelings. There are solutions to those things. What if no one wants to work with me on this project? But what if there is, right? No one wants to work with you in the project. Well, you're in the exact same place as you are now, not working on the project. So you've not lost anything. You just might feel a bit bruised and sad and, rejected. Bye, Karen. Solution is learning to be comfortable in the discomfort. Exactly. To continue deepening my practices and seek support. Yes. I asked my mum for financial support and she said, okay. When I was so terrified to ask her, I haven't asked for money since I was 16. All of these things are so much bigger in our minds than they are in the reality. Like I asked for a loan from my family when I started this work, right? I paid it back. Big fucking whoop. Do you know what I mean? It's like the only reason I could do that is because I allowed myself to do it. Like I'm fortunate I have a family that could do it. Not everyone does, right? So that's it. So sometimes we've got these privileges that we don't want to use in life because we've got these belief systems around them. Is to just be grateful for the fact that it fucking exists for you, right? So I've done a few of the same years, paying back the rest this month. So now I'm like, I've already done this and can't ask again. My other rationale is, well, you're not using it, so can I, right? So the point is, we look at all of this stuff, right? And it's either belief systems you have to reprogram, which come work with me and I'll fucking show you. Some of you already are. Or it's stuff that you can solve and you can cope with. So really, and really, this is for you to think about, what is there to lose? Like, what is there actually to lose? Like, what is there to lose? And just compare the fears and the worries, which are emotional patterns which you can rewire, and things that you can solve versus the benefit. Who do you want to be in this life? Someone that stays where they are because of hypothetical situations that we've written down that you can cope with, because they are hypothetical situations that you can cope with, right? Or patterns that you can reprogram. Vanessa's having a moment. So do you want to be the person that doesn't do the things because of that? Or do you want to be the person that goes for the benefits? Because here's the worst case scenario. And this isn't even this Tara Barra call. This isn't even about joining a product program with me. This is about you fucking going all in on your life. The worst thing that could happen is you fail, potentially. But if you fail, you'll be exactly where you are now. You'll just have some feelings. But here's the thing with feelings. You can be with them. You can cope with feelings. You're going to be okay. And here's also another thing that can happen. You shoot for the moon and you reach the stars. Is it that way? Is it moon? You shoot for the stars and you land on the moon? Who the fuck knows? I don't know which one's further, which is probably making me look not intelligent, but what can we do? We've already said it. The words are out of my mouth. The point is you go for the 10x and you get an 8x. I think the stars are further away. Thank you, Abby. You go for a 10x and you get an 8x. And then the next month you go for another 10x and you make another 2x. You're still further along. Because what do you actually want? We shoot for the goat, yeah. What do you actually want? Is it the things? Is it the goat? Is it the partner? Is it the business? Is it the money? Yes, they've got huge benefit in our life, but what you actually want is who you fucking become in the journey. Bye, Fiona, darling. Because there will be things that you develop within yourself that you literally could not have developed if you didn't put yourself out there. There will be a replay, and being on the phone on the car is also fine. You don't need to have the camera on. You're totally fine. There will be a replay. And actually what I'm going to do, because a couple of you guys have got to go, I'm going to pause this recording so the team can get it. And then I'm going to continue. We're going to go into the group discovery call. Do we have any questions around the terror barrier? We've identified all of the fears. We've identified whether they're actually rational. Mostly there'll be patterns or they'll be completely irrational. Like, I'm going to get kidnapped. I have no idea how that came through, right? Do you want to stay there and go back to reason? Or do you want to walk through to the terror barrier? All good, Nicola. This was very necessary for me today. I'm happy, Vanessa. I feel like I cannot move. That's a belief system. Great about no questions. How do we move forward if it feels like I have to do too much? But this is that's the word of conflict as well. There's too much to do, so I'm not going to do anything. You don't have to do everything today. You have to take one more step towards where you want to go. Because you can't take all of the steps to where you want to go now. Do you know what I mean? You can't achieve everything in a day. But that's not a reason to not, for example, we make excuses. Oh, I'm not going to sell today because I've got too many things to do. And the sale would have taken you 3 seconds. You put a message out there, but the sale feels uncomfortable, right? So I hope today that you guys have made a choice, made a decision to go for what you actually want. And I hope that you know that that might have brought up a lot for you. I will re-listen to this 5 times. Okay. That it might have brought, can you do it just for me? That it will have brought up stuff for you. But that's the whole point. But the question that you want to leave the terror barrier with is really like, who do you want to be in this moment? Do you want to be someone that backs and goes back to what's familiar? That goes back to before you knew all of this information? You can do that. Like, that's your free will. Or you can choose to make a choice. That's the only thing that you've got to do today. And the choice that you're making is, are you really going to go for what you want? And are you going to keep going even though your electrical system and your vibration might feel haywire and it might not feel good? And all of your stuff will come up. But that's the fucking point. Your stuff's coming up so you can heal it. Your stuff's coming up so you can see it. There's no point pushing it down and just pretending you can't see it. Like, that's no growth. That's no growth zone. I'm doing the same thing as Vanessa right now. I do a longer terror barrier training on Spotify where I spend 2 hours and I go much deeper into it. I'm going to put this into the group if you want to go deeper into it. But I'm going to pause the recording. I'm going to start again. And we're going to start talking about the global uni, okay? Because we're at 6 minutes past and I don't want to do more than 2 hours today in total with Terror Barrier by Abby and the Discovery Call.